Well, the surprise finally happened in MotoGP this weekend, didn't it? Marc Marquez didn't win at the Sorry, wrong script. Marc Marquez turned up at his favourite circuit, took pole position, won the sprint, won the Grand Prix and left Germany with a maximum 37 points. But don't worry, because Marco Bezzecchi finally managed to stop the rot and the hangover from that brilliant win in Magellan. Oh no, sorry, he crashed, broke his collarbone. He's recovering after surgery. But hey, not to trouble the championship leader, Jorge Martin, loves the Sachsenring. He's definitely going to, fifth. Anyway, solid weekend there, but not quite what we're expecting. But don't worry, Fabio Di Gianantonio has been super consistent this year, and he's backed it up once again in Germany. Oh my God. Hey, Ogura, it's a flash in the pan. Oh, no, not again. Anyway, apparently not. He's second in the World Championship, rapidly becoming one of the stories of the season. Alex Marquez has crashed again. KTM have finally admitted that they've got a dangerous part on the RC16. It's Gas It Out, ladies and gentlemen. We're back once again, and I'm pleased to be joined, as always, by Neil Hodgson. Morning, Neil. How you doing?
Morning. All good. All good. Hey, that was quite funny for you, Gav. I'm quite impressed with that. That's a good
and I'm pleased
opener.
to say that we're back to a full complement this week because Sylvain Gintoli has returned from his exploits at... Sorry, just check my notes. Wimbledon. How are you, Sylvain? How was Wimbledon last time we were recording?
Bloody hell, Gav. How many espressos have you had this morning? Brilliant. I love it.
Not one yet.
You need to bring... Yeah, you need to bring that all the time. This is awesome. It has been busy though, so and including Wimbledon. I did miss a podcast because I was at Wimbledon, but
we didn't know that though, Sylvain. We did not know that. We thought you'd some work on. We bigged it all up, and then you're at bloody
You thought
Wimbledon.
I was still in Japan.
Yeah,
I was in Wimbledon. Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, it's what it is. You gotta. When you work hard like that, work hard,
play hard.
Is it? Yeah, play hard. That's it.
Hey, it sounded like you
hard
did though after Suzuka. That you stayed on, didn't you? You had like a dinner all together, and that sounded like real hard yakka on the Monday night when you stayed on.
That was hard. Because all that, we went for like a really, really nice Japanese meal. And then we went for a karaoke, one of them karaoke's as well with Mikey and some of the guys as well. And it was good. Yeah, it was nice. We had a good time. It's been busy, Well, we had Brno, Assen, Suzuka, Wimbledon, and then that one in Sachsenring. So, yeah, it's been a busy time.
Hey, and Sylvain's, at Silverstone, at Wimbledon, you watched that French guy, didn't you? I think that French guy won that game,
yes.
But then he got knocked out, didn't he? The French lad.
Yeah, but then he was English when he got knocked out in the.
No. You said he was French. You said he was French.
We supported him as French. Arthur. He did so well, didn't he? We were lucky to be there on that day, on that Wednesday. It was the quarterfinal, and he played so well. It was unbelievable against the Italian. Is it Cobolli? Cobolli, that's it. Top 10. He was. I think he was seeded 9. So yeah, played amazing. Unfortunately, then he got all English in the semi-final and lost.
He got all French.
While he was French, he was
in
really
the semi-final after what happened in the football. Let's not talk about that, shall we?
That's embarrassing.
Exactly.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know, we don't know that. This is the recording before the England game, but after the French game. We're not going to do that. Hey, Neil, would you have rather have been at Sachsenring or at Wimbledon?
I would have rather be working down a pit with no light, no food, nobody, just digging at the coal face with a spoon than be at the Sachsenring. What an appalling racetrack. Let's design this track on the edge of an industrial estate. Well, no, bang in the middle of an industrial estate. Where? Get ready for this. I'm designing a track. I've had a good idea. I'm going to have it so you can't overtake. No long straights, no passing opportunities. It's going to be great. Said no one ever. What a
terrible. Wow. Even the Moto3 bikes, he's gone. That's it. Is that enough?
There we are, Sylvain. There goes our family rating on YouTube. That's gone. Forget about that. That's not anymore. He's walked out of the podcast. It was, though, from all...
I'm back.
Look,
Sorry.
I'll give the Sachsenring one thing. Great crowds and really well
Great
supported.
atmosphere.
And it's
Amazing.
organised well, that sort of thing. You get in quite easily. Traffic getting in and out was great. All those sorts of things. The little admin side. But unfortunately, we had an absolute horrible day of racing on Saturday and Sunday.
Exactly. But also, that's like saying, go to Wembley, right? We've got really good roads into Wembley. You'll go into the Wembley Stadium and it's incredible and the facilities are good. We've got an incredible football pitch and they're going to play football, but there's no goals. And you're just going to watch these teams battle against each other, two teams battle against each other. No one scores and you walk out and it's 0-0 because there's no goals. It's that bad, that track. Honestly,
You get good 0-0s.
You are?
When have you
can
become
get
so good at
0-0s.
football? What are you doing?
I've no idea, Sylvain.
You're coming out with these football stories.
I've no idea. I'm
What's
just
going on
grumpy
there?
this morning. Just think though, it's so funny. A few of my mates went, "Oh my god, that MotoGP race was boring," and I always go, "Try commentating on it." It's like basically from start to finish. Me and Gav sit down. It's pretty much 50 minutes, isn't it? Really, with a bit of build up and the chat after. Probably more. It's an hour, isn't it? Really, it is. Yeah. It's an hour. And we love our job and we love MotoGP and we love commentating, but God, those races are painful, aren't they?
Yeah,
You came up with some good stats, though. You had some good
that's
stats.
what I was about to say.
During the
I mean,
race.
you really...
That was
highlight
interesting.
of the weekend was the fun facts that you managed to trawl out during that race. How fun were they?
What was the first one? How many Sachsenrings you can fit in Silverstone?
Yeah.
That was quite a good one, actually.
Yeah, but that wasn't my stat. Steve Day, who's obviously part of our team, one of our commentators, obviously a good friend, he's there just trying to bail us out, coming up with stats for us.
He's also prodding you.
He prods me during practice and in the race sessions to come out with these stats. So essentially, the footprint of Sachsenring, you can fit 6 of them in the footprint of Silverstone. That's the reality of how tight and twisted this track is and why, in a way, it's so difficult to pass.
What's worse then, do you reckon, Sylvain? Sachsenring or Balaton?
Balaton is still worse, but Sachsenring is pretty bad. I mean, Sachsenring, even the Moto3 bikes can't slipstream each other. It's that bad. The straights are that short, and yeah, it's just one racing line. So yeah, the racing is not great, is it? And with MotoGP as well, the problem is you've got this. You spend all that time on the lean. The tires are overheating. They can't get near each other. If they get near, the front tire overheats. We get this boring front tire pressure problem where they then lose the feel with the front and they can't push in the braking zones and so on. So yeah, unless you got like a real speed difference, like as in pace difference, is virtually impossible to overtake. That said, we've seen there was a couple of overtakes, like the Ogura on Raul Fernandez. That was quite good. That was good lining him up and on his teammates making it stick and that. But obviously, yeah, Marc made it, and they did that in the other categories as well. Like Ortola did that in Moto2, where if the pace is hot at the front, it stretches the field a bit, and there is absolutely no chance of, or very little chance of overtake. So yeah, races were quite boring one day, and it's not one that we're gonna remember. The good news is though, the championship is completely on, and it's not who you'd expect as well. So you got Marc that's back after all that start of season that was, super difficult. And we were all thinking before Le Mans, we were thinking there's something really, really wrong there. We didn't know what was wrong because Marc didn't tell anybody. He'd not even told his team. But so we thought, well, that's gone. We thought Aprilias going to dominate, and with Bezzecchi and Martin, and then now we've got Ogura coming. I mean, he is a bit of a surprise, Ogura, to become that consistent and that good. And then we've got obviously Marc Marquez back in the mix now. DG made a mistake, but it was also because of his warm-up mistake. I think it was just it sort of compounded, and then he crashed in the race. So we got loads going on for the championship, which is exciting for the future. But as a racetrack, bloody hell, it's horrendous, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
really
Neil,
bad.
we've got to start our dissection of the weekend though with Marc Marquez. He did the job that was expected of him. You can't criticise him in this situation. He has been businesslike over the whole weekend, hasn't he? It didn't start great. A little spill, like second flying lap on the Friday morning, but from that point on, I think that's as business as you'll ever see him. And in fact, Ogura asked him in the post Parc Ferme, in the little room they have before going on the podium, you could go faster there, couldn't you? And Marc sort of said to him, we'll never know. And
We don't know. Yeah.
we all think he probably could have. We all think it was done. Everything was just control for the weekend, and he got the 37 points that he desired.
Yeah, it was weird. I missed the first probably 5 minutes of the very first practice. I can't remember what I was doing. I wasn't commentating. And I walked in and I looked at the times and I'm looking and I'm like, Marquez was about 16th, Marc Marquez. And I'm like, that's weird. I thought, obviously, we know he likes his strike. And I thought he was going to come out straight away fast. I didn't think he was going to build himself up to the weekend. And then I'm sort of like looking around and then I looked again and then it shows him in the garage. And I thought, has he scuffed his leathers? I'd missed the crash because I thought, surely no one's crashed straight away. But he crashed straight away. But literally, it was almost like he needed that to happen just to make sure he really focused in. There was a new bump at turn 3. It caught a lot of riders out.
It was the little devil on the shoulder, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
The little devil and angel on the shoulder, and one of them going, "Hey, you remember what happened?" And he's like, "Oh yeah."
You are so right. The devil's going, smash them. We'll absolutely smash them from lap 1. And the angel's going, it's a long weekend. You just want to win both races. Anyway. But you are so right, Gav. From that moment on, it was business-like. We discovered at the end of Friday, he spoke to his team and he said, in qualifying, I'm going to do a three-run strategy, which we've not seen him do since he was a Honda rider. That was one of the things that he was able to do. He was able to put 3 soft tyres in a 15-minute window, but to do that, he had to ride 2 different motorcycles, which is bizarre. Obviously, you've always got a number 1 bike. No matter what anyone thinks, there's one bike that feels better. It always does. Your number 2 always feels slightly different. Never are they level, ever, at any point in my career, and I'm sure, Sylvain, you'll agree with that. So he literally was Marc Marquez of 2019 when he dominated. From that moment, obviously, we know what's happened since. So absolutely destroyed him in qualifying, gets pole. And then in the races, it looked like he was riding with one arm behind his back and not in a negative way, in a controlled way. His brother said after the race, can't remember who spoke to him. It might have been, it probably was Nat Quirk. He said, Marc is just able to have the tyres moving, floating around and making it look easy. And he made it look easy. And it's funny, it's only when you watch his brother crash in the main race where you said it in commentary, Gav. You don't. It doesn't look like they're on the edge until they slide off, and that's the reality of Marc around that track. Like I said, one arm behind his back, absolute domination.
Is it the greatest rider circuit combination we've ever seen? I mean, only Jacopo is before we were born. Jacopo Agostini winning 10 at Imatra in Finland throughout the course of his career in the Premier class, but that's his 13th win across the classes. Sylvain, we said it on the podcast, we said it in commentary, we said it all weekend. Marc has to take the full 37 points. There's a pressure that comes with that, but what is it? What is it then? Go on, what is it that we've seen over that weekend that he just does better than anyone else at Sachsenring?
Well, it's the left turns, isn't it? I mean, we keep saying it, but he's just so good in anything that turns left. And that's what you get in Sachsenring. You spend ages on that left side of the tire. You have to slide the bike to make it rotate, to make it turn better. You have to manage the tire spin and corner exit to try and not overheat it. And Marc just excels at doing this. I mean, we've seen it all over the weekend when we did when we looked at the ghosting as well from Chaz. These images, where they you sort of like put them together and you can compare the riders. Marc in the last sector he had a 10th and a half on anybody on any given lap. He's just so good at controlling the bike on the left turns and making it steer with a rear brake and whatever he does there, it just works. So yeah, it is. Yeah, like the perfect combination and the sort of like unbeatable combination. He's won there when he had injuries. He's won there when in all sort of conditions. So he's an absolute machine there, and that's why before going there, even though we knew physically he wasn't 100%, we sort of knew that he was going to destroy everybody. And there was only Marc that could have stopped himself from not winning. And like I said, with this little sort of like reminder in lap 2 of that first session, that small crash. It was a small one, so that was good for him. Just a small losing the front. Thinking, right, just take your time there. You are the favourite. You don't need to rush things like that. So yeah, it was the perfect weekend for Marquez. Also, Sachsenring is a physical track, and you see him at the end of the races. You see how destroyed physically he was. After Balaton or after Brno, he was really, really drained. You could see on his face. He was completely smashed physically. Sachsenring, it looked like this was. It looked like it was round 1, and he could have had another 11 rounds, of doing this. It looked fresh. He was not tired. He was full of energy, as we've seen in the celebrations after on the podium. His body language looked like he had a lot more to give. So it was a measured performance. It definitely didn't go all out. It was that bit when in the interview room, where Ogura asked him. That's just so good, because Marc is just looking at him with his like sort of naughty eyes, just going, no, well, we don't know, do we? As in, like, he definitely had more to give if need be, and nobody could live with him. So he's the master, the what they call him, the king of Sachsenring. So and I think that crown is going nowhere as long as he's around in the championship.
Yeah, I'm sort of trying to think for there's so many things you said there to pick up on, but it reminds me a little bit of Casey Stoner at Phillip Island. There was that period of time where he was just, you turn up there, it's going to happen. Valentino Rossi had it at Mugello. He had it actually at Phillip Island for a bit, but at Mugello as well, you just knew it was going to happen. It's that symbiotic relationship just works hand in hand with each other. And you then mentioned his celebrations afterwards. There was the quite awkward spraying of Ogura on the podium where he just kept it. He really sees Ogura as a threat. And I'm sure we'll get into that later in the podium. But, he was spraying him and then spraying him and then spraying him till it got a little bit uncomfortable. It was a bit like bullying style. But he's got that devilish edge back.
Him.
He is.
He's sizing
got
him
that edge of, right, I need to get back to my old tactics now. And Neil banging the drum in pit lane, cap on backwards, standing there, shouting at the top of his voice, screaming as his whole team do the Norwegian Viking row in the garage. That is, yes, it's for celebration purposes, but we all know that, as much as anything else, is to annoy the hell out of everybody else in that pit lane.
Yeah, and it does, and it works, and it vibrates down pit lane. We were in the TV compound, which is quite a long way away from pit lane, and you could hear something going on. It's done for a reason. It's not just done to celebrate. It's done to smash everybody. Because whilst that's going on, whilst they're making that level of noise during their celebrations after the race, that's a key period when most of the riders are sat down with their data engineer, analysing the squiggly lines, all the data. You're going in depth at that point because you've got all the information. It's post-race. What are your issues? And all you can hear is all that banging of the drum and the chants and the singing. It would do your head in. And it's just a reminder, the king is back and there's nothing you can do about it because I'm going to destroy you. And that's all part of it. Oh, I was just thinking when you were asking the question, Gav, I thought, who was the first to do it? Because Lorenzo used to do it, didn't he? Do you remember Lorenzo?
Yeah.
And it really annoyed a lot of people because Lorenzo wasn't as popular. And Lorenzo was king of the mind games as well. Was he the first? Because Valentino never did anything like that.
No, they might have had the odd celebration here or there, but maybe it was when the wall's down the middle of the garage or, that sort of thing. It's like, how can I really wind up my teammate? How can I do things differently? Because obviously he was always accused of copying Valentino's celebrations,
right.
The fact that he'd have these little skits at the end of a race. So, yeah, I think that's probably right. I think that's about the right measure that Lorenzo... And Lorenzo annoyed people.
Yeah, yeah, on purpose, and it
Under people's
worked.
skin. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark's taken it up a notch, hasn't he, with those celebrations and the noise and yeah, God, it'd do your head in if you're racing against him.
The one person I'm not sure it would ever affect, though, is
I agree.
Ogura. And when we come back from the break, we'll discuss the rest of the field from the Sachsenring. Ogura now, is he the coming force in MotoGP? What about the factory Aprilia duo? We'll have all that in a moment. Welcome back to Gas It Out, where we're discussing the best of the action from the Sachsenring. If you want to get involved, we've already had lots of questions coming in at Gas It Out Pod on Instagram and on YouTube. You can leave your comments under our videos there. You can send us DMs in Instagram. We've had a few come through that we're going to try and get through. We've got the summer break. We're trying to get a couple of interviews lined up, but also I'm thinking, lads, we might have a summer quiz. How about that? Like a half season, because we're 11 down, 11 to go. Test you both and the people at home with their knowledge of what's going on in the season so far. How's about that? Drag a few stats out, that sort of thing. You happy for that? You look nervous.
Sylvain.
You look nervous. But you're experts. It's never going to be a problem.
I'm definitely nervous on that.
Sylvain, is this designed to make us look really stupid? I know I'm doing a good job on my own.
Gav is picking the questions. You know what he's going to do, don't you? He's going to try. Obviously,
exactly.
He's going to try to make it look stupid. You're not going to ask like who was first in FP2 in Moto3 back in bloody Jerez or something.
Well, if you've made your notes, kept it on your board, then
I think you'll find that with Brian in reality.
Hey, let's just have a look while we can into this second part of the show at the championship. This is how we're standing after 11 rounds, the halfway point of the MotoGP World Championship. It's Jorge Martin who leads on 208, 14 behind now. Ogura on 194. Marc Marquez is into third place. He is the top Ducati in the championship on 190, 18 behind Martin. It's Bezzecchi in fourth on 186. Di Gianantonio fifth on 184. Very, very tight. 10 points covering between Ogura and Fabio Di Gianantonio. Raul Fernandez there in sixth. It feels like if it's going to be between anyone, it's going to be between those top six. But even Pedro Acosta in seventh on 148. Bagnaia in eighth at 143. And then there's a cutoff to Alex Marquez and Luca Marini, who round out the top 10. I think that Alex Marquez gap could be interesting as the season goes on, as I'm sure we're going to get into now. But let's talk first of all about the positives, shall we? Let's talk about Ogura. Third podium in a row, Neil, for Ogura on a track that he doesn't like, or was vehement before the weekend that he didn't like. We go to some circuits that possibly the Aprilia will really get on with, and he's just showing, he's just bubbling in confidence.
Yeah, just absolutely rock solid. And everybody said he doesn't go well round the Sachsenring. And if you watch that first practice session, he didn't. He was, when I came in early on and I'm looking, he was down in about 17th, 18th place. And remember, we talked about it during commentary. He seemed to have a different strategy, and it was a case of him staying out. I'm sure he's got a really good base setting with that Aprilia, and it was almost he's going to stay out and figure the track out and work on himself and work on those small details of fine-tuning how to go fast around that quirky, blind, squiggly little track. And he did throughout the weekend. And if you think that's how he started the weekend, and he ended it by finishing less than 2 seconds behind Marc Marquez. And that's a big statement. Excuse me. And I think what you said about about
frog in the throat.
I don't know what's going on there. About Marquez squirting him on the rostrum. What was weird about that? You're so right. It did look like bullying because of Ogura's personality. So Marc Marquez opened his champagne and then just started squirting it in Ogura's face, and Ogura just stood there and took it though, didn't he? Like slightly subservient. He didn't like fight it. He just sort of just squinted a little bit, and then Mark carried on. But like you said before the break, you just feel like Ogura is made of different stuff. Who was it that said something about? He was asked about someone asked him about, oh, you didn't seem to get worked up when this happened on track, or, why didn't you wave your arms at him? And he said, emotions slow you down. I mean, what a line. And that's the sort of rider he is.
It's true, though.
But
it's
yeah,
true,
it's true,
isn't it?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
sitting here now, though, thinking about it, can he take it to Marc Marquez this year for the championship? I think he can. Do I think he'll beat him in the championship? I don't think he will. That's just being honest. I don't think many people think that he will. But he looks like the man. He's gone up such a level now. Imagine where Marco Bezzecchi is literally now. Obviously, his freshly plated collarbone, confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10, he'll be at about a 3. Jorge Martin looks lost randomly. Your championship leader doesn't look comfortable on the Aprilia. I'd say his confidence level's probably at about a 6. Ralph Fernandez is doing a good job, but it's Ralph Fernandez.
He's flawed.
It seems that way, doesn't it? And then you look at Ogura just delivering, and this was a huge weekend for I, and he delivered. And just like I said, finished less than 2 seconds behind Mark on his favourite track.
Yeah, part of his success, it feels like his demeanour, doesn't it? It feels like his, ability to just ignore everything and not be that bothered by things. Just, I'd like to say it's laser focus and intensity. It's not that, is it?
No.
It's like that when the idea of having a crash and being relaxed into something and not tensing up, everything just seems to wash over him, doesn't it, Sylvain? And I don't know if Jorge Martin is leading the championship, as we've just seen, 14 points ahead. But at this moment, to me, it looks like Jorge Martin does have more black marks, more crosses against him than Ogura. I'm not saying Ogura's flawless, because I feel like confidence is doing a lot for him at the moment. We have seen when his confidence gets knocked, he can drop. But he seems to have less mistakes in him, seems to have less... quite a steady curve, not, your spikes that you're getting from Bezzecchi and Martin. From Ogura, you've got quite a consistent performance coming out of him.
Yeah. Well, he's except for Austin, where the bike packed up he had a mechanical, and that would have been a podium, actually. He's got no non-scores. I mean, he's been consistent. His approach and the way he is, but by not showing his emotions or by not having the emotions, that's really important as well. And that's something that all the riders on the grid, your Martin, all the guys that are on the same bike as him, and even Marc Marquez, this is something that they will fear, actually, that they will feel, not fear, but that probably fear is not the right word, but it's something that they can feel threatened by, because when you got somebody like that that looks cool and calculated and unemotional in regards to what you're doing or what's happening, that you can't fluster, that you can't quite size up like that. And Mark is trying to do that. It's funny because since Ogura started to go with them in the car, in that car after the races, they get all put together, and after in the post race, that room that they have before going on the podium, you can tell that Mark is sort of like, he's prodding him. He's throwing things there, and he's trying, that's because he's or the champagne thing. That's because he's trying to size him up. He's trying to figure him out, to understand his weaknesses, and that's what these guys do, because it's not just about the battle on track. It's about the psychology of things and the order of things. But when you got somebody like that is that good and that is showing consistency, and he's still being a bit mysterious about how his real personality is, because he's blocking so much of it, it's a threat. It's a massive threat. And that's why I also see him as it stands. He's Mark's biggest threat for the championship. Mark is 100% the favourite, because of the history of things and because of how good he is. But Ogura there looks just so solid, and Trackhouse looks solid as well. The weekend in Assen, the weekend again for them in Sachsenring, it seems like they can't do anything wrong. So they've got obviously a really solid base with the technical side of things. Good solid base with their setup and the engineers working throughout the weekend. They've figured that out, and they've got now within the team that confidence that you need as a team to progress, together. So they're going to be starting every weekend, like David Abrivio told us after the race. They're going to be starting every weekend, not looking too much at the championship, trying to keep that relaxed atmosphere or that atmosphere that they got now, and perform every weekend. And I've got to say, I can't see it not happening, because they're showing that they can do it on lots of different tracks, and lately, like Neil said, for Ogura to perform like that on this sort of like bogey track that he doesn't really like, the way he approached it, the way he sort of solved that puzzle during the weekend, that's another show of strength. So, next time out, we're going to Silverstone. That on paper was terrible last year for the Ducatis. They couldn't work that front tyre, did they? And they weren't even on the podium, I think. Last year, it was a disaster for them. And Aprilia is a massive favourite for that track. Long, fast, sweeping corners. So yeah, we've got a fight on for the championship. Ogura is impressive. I mean, I like the guy.
He'd be leading the championship without the breakdown in. Imagine that now. Ogura leading the championship if his bike can't let him down in Austin. It's crazy. You never at the start of the season, none of us would have said who's going to be leading at the halfway stage. You wouldn't have gone. You wouldn't have even put I in your top 5. That's how impressive his season's been.
Yeah, and lately as well, he's sorted out qualifying, which is the one Achilles heel, isn't it? That's what it had been up to that point, being stuck in the early parts of races. But now he's able to express himself in races early on, and then still have the pace at the end. We'll move on just because we've got so many other bits to touch on. Despite being a terrible weekend, there's lots of little threads to pull on, and one of them is the factory Aprilia team. We've got to go with them because they were leading the World Championship. They were dominating. Marco Bezzecchi wasn't headed in the first 3 races of the season. And yet, since standing on that pit wall, acclaiming the crowd up on pit wall in Mugello, it's all started to go wrong. And to add insult to injury, a collarbone break and a nasty one displaced on his left-hand side. It's been had an operation done. And we'll just have to wait and see how his recovery from that is as the season goes on. But it's another thing, in his negative column, isn't it, Neil? He's not only lost the championship lead to his teammate now, he's now dropped down to 4th place in the championship, behind Marc Marquez, behind Ogura. I mean, starting with one side of the Aprilia garage, Bezzecchi needs this summer break.
Yeah, it's come at the absolute perfect time. One thing, though, I was just thinking then when you were talking, the reality is what we learned last year was Bezzecchi was really strong at the second half of the season. I think if he found a base setting on that Aprilia, he does like a lot of the tracks we're coming up to. If you'd have said, if you'd have said to the top 5 in the championship, at the halfway point in this season, you will be, what's the top 5 covered by? I can't remember. It's like 20 points or something, Gav?
Yeah, the top 5 is covered by 24 down to Fabio Di Gianantonio. Yeah,
if you were Digi and you'd said at the halfway point, you're going to be, 24, do you say?
Yeah,
24 points off. You'd take that. And Bezzecchi would take...
Bez is 22 behind.
Yeah, Bez is 22 behind. Like, if you remember last year at Silverstone, Bez won there, and that was at that period when Martin was trying to leave Aprilia. It was quite funny, wasn't it? We're like, hang on a minute, this Aprilia is quite a good bike. So everything said is true, obviously. Bez needs his summer break. He's in a hole. What we know Bez can do if he go into a track that he won on last year, if he wins at Silverstone, he as we've seen him do this year, winning the first 3 races, as we saw him at the end of last year, winning the last 2, leading every lap. Anyone still can take it to Mark. Any of the top 5, if they can click, if they can get on a little bit of a roll. And that's why, even though, like, right at the beginning, when we were saying how rubbish the weekend had been, as in racing-wise, and then Sylvain said, but what a championship we've got. We are in such a great position. Nice break now, 3 full weekends off, which is a lot in MotoGP. Then Silverstone, then 2 weekends off. And then, as we know, then it goes crazy, doesn't it? It's full on. So, yeah, it's wide open.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what we'll do in a second. When we come back from the next break, we'll go through the calendar and we're going to see the remaining races of the season, who we fancy for each of those ones as things stand. But let's, first of all, the other side of the garage, Sylvain, how will Jorge Martin be feeling? He's come out with his usual bullish, uber confident statement along the lines of, well, I was last year, so I'm leading the championship, so that's great. But how would you describe his weekend in Sachsenring? The fact is, he did hold off Pecco Bagnaia. He did beat him. However, he was a long way then behind the other Aprilias in Ogura and Fernandez. But again, I refer to the fact that he leads the championship. So how would you sum up Jorge's weekend in Germany?
Well, I'd say it's not enough, and he'll be worried about that. And he's, like Neil said earlier, his confidence level, if at Trackhouse or the Ogura account, with the other Aprilia, they're on, they're on 9 out of 10. Jorge Martin is on 5 or 6 because he keeps getting beaten by them. They are faster than him. They've got better race pace. He's throwing the kitchen sink at it because you can tell he's sort of even overriding the bike. At times you can see that from the images, and it's not quite happening. So yes, he's leading the championship, but confidence-wise, you'd think like, he's a bit in trouble. It's like he can't get to that next level. And we thought that the start of the season, he's obviously very impressive at some of the rounds, like in Le Mans, for example, or rounds like that, where we thought there's still more to come for Jorge Martin. He's going to start to qualify better because he wasn't qualifying well at the time. And we thought this is where the weakness is still there. So he'll find a bit more feeling, obviously after missing all these rounds last year with injuries and so on. He's still building his sort of relationship and feeling with that Aprilia bike. But that's not come. And he's had a lot of crashes since the start of the season. I don't know the exact number, but I think he's top. He's number one in crashes.
He's top, I think. He's top, yeah.
18. Yeah,
16,
so that's a lot. 60, yeah. I mean, he's crashed a lot. So he's obviously trying hard, but it's not quite happening. So yeah, he'll be disappointed with the Sachsenring results. When you're leading the championship and you've got 2 other Aprilias in front of you from the private team that is running them, that is not good. That's not a good result. And
do you know what weirdly that I see with him, which is bizarre? That Aprilia always looks planted and stable. That's what it's been, its sort of DNA. We talked about it even back when Aleix was riding. We talked about that, the lack of pitch. Do you remember, as we chatted about that a lot in commentary?
Yeah.
Martin, in the last 3 rounds, it looks like there's a lot of pitch on the bike. The bike looks
and it's snappy.
Twitchy and twitchy and nervous. Think of Ogura. His bike looks like he's got glue on his tyres. You don't see any pitch, any transfer, weight transfer. He looks so much
smoother. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and I think it looks
I think that's Martin is. You were going to say Martin's overriding. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it's so clear to see.
You can see that. Yeah, in Brno, it was so clear to see in Brno where you got these long corners and you've got to be smooth with the bike to carry the corner speed. And I know it's always a very fine balance, but you don't want to have the bike out of shape in that kind of track. You can't. It's not a stop and go thing where the bike can be snappy a bit and you can still get away with it. In Brno, you have to have the bike sort of leveled and planted so you can produce the lap time. That's how you ride a bike efficiently around a track like that. And Martin was a little bit all over the place. You can see the bike moving around. And he was the same in Assen. In Assen, he made a few mistakes with the bike, like even in corner entry where the rear was like breaking traction, and then he was creating movements and so making it. So he is, in my opinion, he is overriding a bit. He's getting angry because the performance is not coming, and he can see the other Aprilias performing better. So he's not in a good space. But did you see
Sylvain, sorry, did you see when he entered the pits again? He looked really angry, like he was going to push someone. Did you see that? Because the team sort of came round after the race, and it was like, "Oh no, well done, you got the most out of it." And then he was a bit like a pit bull going in there, and you could sense that he was very, very angry. And like I said, well, he'll be pissed off, won't he? Just getting beaten by the satellite Aprilias.
They've got a job on, haven't they? Rivola, Bonora, and the rest of the team to work out what they do in this situation. Jorge Martin's leading the championship. okay, put all our weight behind him. He's leaving next year. We'd much prefer Bezzecchi to win, but Bezzecchi's injured coming back. Actually, do we put our weight behind? Well, we can't put our weight behind the Trackhouse team, can we? We can't. Not to Ogura, because he's going to Yamaha
He's
next
leaving.
year.
Yeah.
And they've got a real quandary, haven't they, of management in this situation, because they want to throw and they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. They want to spread it out and make sure everyone's competitive, but that might take points off each other and not all off Marc Marquez. They've got a real quandary on their hands, haven't they?
They have to work out what they've done wrong after Mugello, or what they haven't done after Mugello, that has made the whole sort of downward spiral for both of their riders. They need to work out what happened there.
If you think about it really quickly, they went to Balaton. Obviously, Martin took everyone out in the main race. I know they were slightly off the pace, but that's what happened. Then they went to Balaton, and Bez decided to slap a Marshall, which is like obviously
Bruno.
Yeah. Bruno. And then we went to Assen.
They got thrashed in Assen by
then Bezzecchi obviously lost the front massively in the race and knocked himself out. Then he crashes in practice. So it's
been a bit self-inflicted.
That's what I mean. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say. When you just those 4 events, 4 major things have happened, and actually Marco Bezzecchi's defence in Balaton, he did nothing wrong. He just got torpedoed by his teammate.
But the team, as factory Aprilia, it's self-flagellation, isn't it? It's self-inflicted, disaster that you're creating for yourselves. Yeah,
I remember though back in even at Mugello, we were talking about that pressure cooker. That pressure cooker that Aprilia factory has got to manage, and you could feel that pressure was coming up and up and up. And it obviously in Mugello it worked. It could not have gone better. They did the lap records. They got the 3 Aprilias in the front row. They've got the win for Bezzecchi in Italy, in Ducati's back garden, on the Aprilia at Mugello. It does not get better than that. And obviously after that, everything has gone wrong. So you can have this. There is that in sport and especially in motorsport. You can have a bit of bad luck. That just happens, and there's nothing you can do about that. But for it to go so wrong for the 4 races, there's obviously, that's what I'm saying. They need to really understand what went wrong, what they have done or not done that made the whole sort of dynamics they're in, because they're not in a good phase, and they need to put it back together. That summer break, like I said, Neil, it couldn't have come at a better time for them. They need to press reset. They do.
It's a problem that Ducati don't have. They know who their lead man is. They know who they want to win the championship. They know which basket to put all their eggs in, and it's called Marc Marquez. He may even get support from his brother, who really isn't now in the championship, but looks like the form he showed could have actually been the quickest rider over the weekend. That's what Pecco Bagnaia is saying. I need to have more Alex. Actually, if I can work out what Alex is doing, I might be able to replicate that sort of thing. Fabio Di Gianantonio crashed out, and that's his first proper blot. I know there've been others, but proper blot on the copybook for this year. And suddenly now Ducati don't have that kind of problem. When we come back from the break, we're going to discuss the remainder of the MotoGP calendar. We're halfway through, halfway point. What's the rest of the season got in store for us? It's our final part of Gas It Out as we review the Sachsenring. A reminder, at Gas It Out Pod on YouTube and Instagram. Send us your comments, send us your questions. We're going to have a Q&A episode over the summer break that we've got coming up. But it is the summer, chaps. We are 11 races down, 11 to go. These are the races that we've got left in the MotoGP calendar. So we go to Silverstone at the start of August. And then we've got another 2-week break. So 1 race in 6 weeks when we've had, 7 in 9 over the last few weeks. It's just a ridiculous point of the year. But then once we've got to Aragon at the end of August, suddenly the races come thick and fast, back to back between San Marino and Austria. 3 in a row between Japan, Indonesia. And then a gap, should I say. And then 3 in a row, Australia, Malaysia, Qatar, if Qatar happens. And then another back-to-back, Portugal in Valencia. So from San Marino down to Valencia, in that period, there are only 3 off weekends between all those remaining 8 races. So they will come thick and fast. But maybe, lads, we can just go through them one by one. Like, who do we fancy being strong at each of those rounds? So, say Silverstone, we're all pretty much in agreement that's Aprilia, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
And on Aragon?
100% Marc Marquez.
Has to be, doesn't it? Then it starts getting sticky, doesn't it?
He's dominated at Aragon. That's Marc always with Marc Marquez.
It's got to be. It's got to be Marc Marquez. It's got to be a slow turning track. Heartbreaking. Do we feel the same at Austria?
I'm unsure about Austria. What about you, Sylvain? Austria?
I think Austria is going to be pretty much because I remember last year where we got there and we thought, Aprilia, they won't be that good because of the stop and go stuff, and they couldn't stop the bike there, and then that was completely rectified. So that's going to be quite close. So this one will be hard to call Austria. I think it's going to be a 50-50 in that one.
Middle part of the track, I say round turn sort of 5, 6, 7.
Marc Marquez.
8. You I just think.
Oh, sorry, the Aprilia turns, but
actually has something to. Do
you remember?
Then there's the other bits of Marc.
I was just thinking there's those 2 lefts in the middle of the track, Gav, where all of a sudden Marc's got 2 10s on everyone, weirdly. Yeah. That's why it's a leveler, isn't it, that one? I'd say, should we say 50-50 on that one?
50-50 then. Motegi?
Yeah. That's a Ducati. Yeah.
Got to say Ducati. Sometimes, I remember in the past we always thought it was Honda, but Yamaha turned up. It sort of turned there, didn't they, some of those? But yeah, we'd say. And then Indonesia, you'd say Aprilia, wouldn't you?
100% Aprilia. That's like going, that's the equivalent of Silverstone. That's like, do you remember even last year, before Marc got torpedoed,
he won last year, didn't he? But he was the only one. Everybody's at Ducati. It was a bit. It should have been Bezzecchi, and obviously the accident happened with Marc, and then it's Aldeguer that won. But he was the only Ducati rider that had any kind of feeling with the front end. I think the Aprilia looked better there.
So at the moment we're going sort of 2 to Aprilia so far, and then we've got sort of 2 50-50s, 2 for Marc. Australia
is a good one.
50-50, or is it about
Marc is always super good in Australia, but the problem is last year it's Raul Fernandez that won on the Aprilia. So the Aprilia will go well there as well.
Yeah, they had a big advantage, Aprilia, there. So that almost levels it out. I'd say that's a 50-50.
Yeah. So another 50-50. And then Malaysia?
Malaysia is a Ducati. Malaysia should be Ducati. The Aprilias never really perform well in Malaysia. So it should be Ducati.
Hot temperatures?
On paper.
Ogura?
Look
at one of those. Qatar, we don't know if we're going to go. You think Ducati? Got a lot of flow to it.
A difficult one to call.
I think that's 50-50 now.
Yeah.
Portugal?
Well, Bez won there last year, dominated. He'll go there with confidence. They pretty look like it works.
And Valencia as well. Now, bear in mind, all these tracks at the end.
Valencia, Marc Marquez, left hand tight.
From Australia, Marc wasn't there anymore because obviously he picked up that injury in Indonesia with Bezzecchi, and he didn't finish the championship. He didn't do the last few races. So, all those races where Aprilia performed really well, Australia, Portugal, and Valencia, Marc wasn't there. So
that's fair enough.
He'll have something to say about that.
I think that, all in all, that was worthwhile doing, because I actually thought the second half that Marc was going to run away with his championship, having had this 6-week break that we've got coming up, obviously Silverstone in the middle. And when you look at the calendar like that and you really go through it methodically, it's quite level. There will be tracks
balanced
where it's not a foregone conclusion that Marc's going to absolutely stamp all over this championship.
But that's where I sort of think Ducati know all their eggs are in the Marc Marquez basket, whereas you're saying maybe Raul Fernandez will be strong in that one. Ogura might be strong at that one. Marco Bezzecchi's going to work in this one. Martin's going to pop up in a certain one, but that consistently pretty much that Marc Marquez is going to be the lead Ducati man in all those 50-50s, and that should mean things go in that direction. But what I will say, Sylvain, as you said right at the very start of this podcast, we've got a championship on our hands, haven't we? We've got the top 5 covered by 24 points, and even we can't give you a clear answer as to which direction we think it's definitely 100% going to go.
It could be as well that, as we've seen, towards the end of last year and the so far this year after this championship, it could be a case of that if the Aprilia is stronger as a package, and there's nothing that much that Marc can do, it could be that you get a few Aprilias in between as well, as in like you could have an Ogura or a Bezzecchi coming back strong, but you could have an Ogura dominating because he's good and the Aprilia is good. And then you could have the other Aprilias in between. So at the championship, that could make a difference as well. If you've got the Aprilias, let's say, on some of the tracks where they really dominate, and there's nothing the Ducatis can do about it, and there's nothing that Marc can do about it, then suddenly that's an opportunity to open the championship, and let's say make a gap, in the with the point scoring. So I think that could happen on some of the tracks, particularly in the next one in Silverstone. That could be the case where you've got 4 Aprilias in the front.
I mean, favourite wise though, are we all saying
Marc
at
is
this
the
moment
favourite
in time?
because he's
Marc
a machine.
Is the favourite.
Yeah, obviously.
He's the favourite because he's an
no
animal, and
guarantees,
if the bike doesn't, yeah.
And then best top Aprilia.
I think Ogura will be top Aprilia.
Yeah,
I think it looks like he's on a roll, and he's strong. He's showing that he can be strong on tracks where he's not been in the past. He just looks really strong, and he looks like he's sort of like he's getting used to be on the podium. He's a little bit less shy, but still sticking to this sort of like ice cold personality. That to me shows confidence, and so that's still growing. So yeah.
And as we know, he's only in his second MotoGP season. He was a rookie last year, so his margin for improvement it's still there. It's not like his teammates in his 5th year in MotoGP, for example, Raul Fernandez. You don't feel like there's going to be a massive turn of speed. But Ogura he's still developing as a MotoGP rider.
I want to have a quick word before we leave, just on the other classes, on the other categories that were out the weekend. Moto2, Ivan Ortola. Neil, quick word on him. Likes the flag victory. When first of all, you thought, oh, Gonzalez going to come back, or Aegis, or Alonso, everyone's going to come back. Alonso threw it down the road. Olgado did put pressure on, but flawless from Ortola. Likes the flag.
Yeah, sort of from nowhere. And what I mean by that is his Moto3 career, there were a few wins, and then he moved up to Moto2 last year. No fanfare. He had a solid rookie season, but there were obviously a lot of other rookies that took the shine, the attention, the spotlight off him. But this year in Brno, he won a really savvy race, passing Alonso on the last corner, essentially. Superb race. And this weekend he looked wild all weekend, but got pole position. But I wasn't confident he was going to win. I thought he was going to burn his tyre out, to be honest. And he rode such a clever race. It made the race boring. It was a Fuller Malida style race. Again, part to do with the track. But fair play. Ivan Ortola, we know he's not going up to MotoGP or anything, but he's already setting himself in a really strong position to be best of the rest. Next year, we know a lot of rookies are going to move up. A lot of the riders are going to move up to MotoGP. And he'll then fancy his chances to fight for the world title in 27.
Yeah, and that's having switched from the Boscosta Road to the Calais.
He's going to be on top of the shopping list for all the Moto2 teams, won't he? Because we've, quite a few of the Moto2 riders going up to MotoGP. Ortola looks like, he's not getting that chance. So he's going to be, he's putting himself in a great position. What a race by him. We didn't think he was going to last that long.
As in, he's on
Maybe
the bike
not.
that won the championship with Ogura. He found a place, hasn't he, in a team there. Does he want to do it? On Moto3, similar kind of story, really. I feel it would have been likes the flag if Brian Uriarte, 17 years of age, hadn't decided. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give a little opening to the championship leader who's dominated this year so far because I'm that confident. He let Quiles come past Sylvain and still managed to take victory with a bit of ease. Quiles almost let him go back to the lead and had nothing for him.
He had an extra gear. and the way he controlled it, then he was so confident.
Someone should tell the organizer you can't have. You can't.
Sylvain,
You can't have 7 years, can you?
He doesn't ride for Leopard. It's a different team. So just
Allegedly.
Allegedly,
yeah.
Oh.
No, he did have another gear though, and he was that confident. Yeah, he let him through, let Keyless through, have a look at him, and then decided to push when it mattered. It was really clever as well. The way he did the penultimate corner. You know, he went after the curb on purpose, but not on the green. You know, in that black area that was painted black. Just to get that little extra run into the last turn, not to give Keyless any chance. So yeah.
I don't know where he's gone. Do you know what the highlight of the Moto3 race was for me, Sylvain? Was the interviews after. Did you listen? Did you hear Keyless when he was being interviewed? So that we know what Keyless is.
He was acting. He was acting like he'd been happy.
He was acting. It was so good to watch because we know Keyless. Like he is so driven. It's win at all costs. And he got beat fair and square. And it was the most positive interview I've ever heard him ever do.
It was like
we heard him in the rookies. He was so active.
Do you remember the reaction in Mugello?
Exactly.
When he lost in Mugello. That was like, I mean, if he could, he would have just broke the bike in half on his knee, you know, like just go in the box and just go. He was so angry, wasn't he? And then obviously he's had a chat. Marc's had a chat with him and said to him, it's fine. Just pretend. And next time, just be a smiling assassin. You just keep smiling and you can do him next time.
Yeah. In the interview, if you didn't hear it, he was like I said, he was so positive, but it was like, oh, that was such a good race. Do you know what? I really enjoyed that. And as soon as he's saying that, I was sat there in the commentary box going, oh my God, that is proper flannel, that is. Because
you didn't enjoy that because he tried and he saw that Uriarte had more pace and there's nothing he could do about it. So he definitely did not enjoy that. That was funny. But he's learning, isn't he? He's taking it all on board.
Absolutely.
And he's got the best advice, best teachers, best mentors. Yeah, with Marc and Alex Marquez.
What's a shame, in a way, is he's got such a lead in the championship because now Brian Uriarte's moved up to second. He's a rookie in his first season. But I'm not excited because the gap's so much in Moto3. I'm not now thinking the second half of the season the wheels are going to fall off Keyless. What you can't believe with Keyless, I think, was that his 28th or 29th Grand Prix. He's finished on the podium in 18 or 19. He's never not scored. Imagine last year was his rookie year. He's leads the championship this year. Imagine he's never not scored. As in, he's never crashed, never made a mistake. He's always ridden on the limit. He's won loads of races. What a talent.
Yeah.
Absolutely superb.
And in all conditions as well.
What have you been doing, Gav?
I had someone at the door as my, what do you call it, smart speaker announced on air. Had a delivery. It was supposed to come later, but, you know, can't always have it that easy, but
I bet the delivery wasn't for you though. What's Kate ordered?
More clothes, shoes, or something like that. You know how it always is. Can I have a quick word on World Superbike, chaps? Booliga's dethroned. It's done.
Finally.
Yeah.
Hey, solid. What a ride from Lecuona as well. That was, I've got to say, it wasn't an easy victory. He had to fight for it, and Booliga didn't want to give it to him. But in race one, Lecuona was clearly the best. Unfortunately, what happened next, you felt was always going to happen. He got giddy then in the Superpole race and took the front at Goddard's, which is easy to do. And then obviously normal service was resumed. Obviously Booliga won the Superpole race and race 2. I think he leads the championship by quite a few points now.
1 or 2, I think. Hey, there was some home success. Tom Booth Amos, a little bit of success. And that's good to see, isn't it? Because bear in mind, good. You know, we had him in Moto3 for a while, and it never worked out. It felt like he wasn't on the bike. To be fair to him as well,
That's the reality.
to go home and do that.
Yeah, he's had to dig deep as Tom in his career. If you think about it, we had him, like say, for a few years in Moto3. Never was in any of the, I'm going to say A teams. He actually wasn't in many of the B teams, and it was tough for him. And actually, what was good about him coming to Moto3 was that was part of his journey, part of his learning curve, and he's dug deep, hasn't he, in his career? And if I'm going to be totally honest, I didn't think he would. I knew he was good, but I didn't think he was at the level he is now. And it's really good to see. So, did the UK proud winning at Donington.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you ask for than winning your races at your...
I tell you what, did you see, I know we don't mention the Women's Championship very often. Did you see what happened? That was... Yeah. Do you know what? World Superbikes, they don't have the same system as they do in MotoGP. They don't have the same panel of stewards every weekend. They've got different people making calls. And there's
just explain what happened with Maria Herrera.
I don't know if it was the last lap. I think it was the last lap. Maria Herrera's in a battle. Bear in mind the World Championship's on the line. I don't know who her opponent was, who she collided with. But basically, they came... You go round the old hairpin. What was it?
Paulo Ramos.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you go through a flat out kink up the hill through Starkeys and through Schwanzers. And at that point, it's sort of one line as you tip in, but loads of times riders go through there side by side. And it's always the rider on the inside has the line. It's just how it is. It's how it's always been. And you clip the curb, and then the racing line goes where you then go out to the white line. Basically, at last lap, they go through there side by side. But Maria Herrera is half a bike length in front. I've watched it about 10 times now. And she can't see. She knows her rival's there. She can't see her, but she knows exactly where she is. And Maria Herrera sticks to her line. She doesn't drift really silly wide. She doesn't go to the white line. She even leaves her opponent some room. They touch at that point. Whose fault is that? Well, it's the opponent's fault. You just got to pick the bike up a little bit. That's what you do. And down she goes. Maria Herrera goes round, crosses the line. She's world champion, gets a T-shirt, flag and all that lot, celebrates being world champion, comes round, and they go, no, that was, you've got to go back a place, or whatever the penalty was. I'm so disappointed. We saw it earlier on in the year in Balaton where Locatelli got a penalty for nothing. He did nothing wrong at all. He was caught in a collision. He went down, I think, in the crash. He did. Bizarre. So,
it was with Miguel Oliveira and Sam Lowe's.
Yeah, exactly. The stewarding at World Superbikes.
Not the right... Yeah.
No, it needs to be looked at because it's so wrong though. Not even a little bit wrong. It's like so wrong. So,
but even then, Maria's copping pelters left, right, and centre as well. I've been looking at the Spanish socials on this vlog. It's gone off a little bit because of what's happened. And Maria's quite a well-known name in the bike world. Obviously, she's a world champion with women. You know, she's won races at world championship level with the men as well. And
did you see it, Sylvain?
She's copping a lot of stick.
Yeah. I thought the same. I thought, well, I mean, if you know the track and you've ridden that track, there's not much else she could have done there, was it?
No,
really. I don't think.
But this is why
to a bike length ahead, or half a bike length ahead.
Exactly. And when you're half a bike length ahead, and it's a corner of that shape, you're looking up the road. You're not looking back to make sure you're leaving your rival on the last lap a bit of room. Oh, I'll leave you some room. No, you don't. You can't stand the bike up and clean someone out, which you didn't. The angle of her bike never changed. And that's why
the thing. If the angle of the bike changes and you lift it up a bit to be a bit naughty, to try and push a bit, or to try and sort of, you put the other guy or the other girl out of position, and then there's a collision, or if you do it sort of harshly, and then that's a rash move, and that needs looking at.
Exactly.
But she was just minding her own business basically,
and that's why
it was a little bit of after. I think
that's why it
came down.
That's why the MotoGP system is so good, because we have stewards that are there race after race. They personally know the riders. They know how these guys think, and so that gives you such an understanding of what is going on, and such a better sort of overlooking the whole and any kind of incident. And that's
you need an ex-rider as well.
Yeah, and that's why it's been so successful lately in MotoGP. That's why it works so well, and that's why Simon Crafar is doing such a great job at it. Is because he's there all the time. He knows everybody. He is an ex-racer. He's been in that world for many, many years, and he's there everywhere. It's him that's there on every single race. And like I said, he knows all the riders. He knows all the tracks, the bikes. He knows everything that goes on. So you cannot bullshit him. He knows what you've done or haven't done.
It's so
and the
funny
riders then know that they can't. So they don't do silly stuff.
It's so funny you say that.
They're going to get called.
We've had conversations with Simon, and he's basically said that. And Simon has looked them in the eyes. I won't name any names. And he said, don't bullshit me. Name them. No, imagine Simon going, I can't do his accent. Mate, don't bullshit me. I know. Because you know. Because we know.
Terrible.
Because you do, Sylvain, don't you? We've done it. When you're on the bike, we've done stuff. I've pushed people off track, run to the white line, knowing full well they're there. But as I'm pushing the guy off the track, that's his job, but duty. He knows because I'm in front. It's his duty to roll the throttle off a little bit. That's why I'm going to the edge of the track. Everybody does that. That's racing. But you can't blatantly do a silly move. So anyway, sorry, I've gone off on a tangent, but
you have. But
big talking point, Gav, though, wasn't it?
It was massive, yeah. And with that, Alistair McGowan, Rory Bremner, your impression of Simon Crafar, they are quaking in their boots. That potential of being an impressionist for the future. Right, lads, I think that's all we've got time for. We're well past the hour that we usually like to stick to. We will welcome your questions, though, at Gas It Out Pod on Instagram and on YouTube. And we hope that you enjoy the time away from the racing, but we'll still be back. We'll still have podcasts. We'll still bring you entertainment over our enforced MotoGP summer break. Lots for us still to talk about. We'll have a bit of a quiz. We'll try and get an interview in there or two if we can, and we'll see you on the other side. Lads, enjoy your holidays. I'm assuming off to somewhere posh and expensive, Sylvain?
No, I'm just going to stay home. I've been away so much. And the British summer looks really good. Like the weather forecast looks good.
It does now.
So I'm just going to enjoy the weather. Sit in the garden, have a few rides on my road bike, and just enjoy just being there. So
the beauty of it,
family
is
a bit.
The British weather's never been known to change, has it? Neil, what about you? You're in the
nothing planned, Gav. Nothing planned
Isle of
at
Man
all.
all summer. Paradise Island.
Exactly.
Enjoying the sunshine.
Playing, exactly. Then the weather doesn't change much there, so can't wait. How about you, Gav? Camper van, hopefully off somewhere about. Let the child off the leash and the dog maybe too. So yeah. Right. For now, that's all we've got time for. Kate won't like that.
What? Me being let off the leash?
Yeah, exactly. If in doubt, Gav.
What?
If in
doubt.
What
are you suggesting?
If in doubt.
What's that?
Gas it out.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys.